Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of going from rank 0 to 100. Starting this episode off at rank 35 we have the AKU-12. The AKU-12 was honestly so nice to use and might be one of my favorite guns in the series so far. Because of the fact that the AKU-12 is just like, everything is just good about it. It's just such a nice mix of stats that you can't really go wrong with it. And sure, people are gonna say that, oh, it's just another M4A1. And it honestly, yeah, I agree. It really is just another M4A1. It has around the same damage, around the same reload, around the same RPM, around the same everything, sorta. But the reason why I personally would pick the AKU-12 over something like the M4A1 is because of the fact that it has such smooth recoil. You don't even really need any attachments on this weapon for it to be hyper accurate up to 200 studs. I mean, sure, you're probably gonna be laying down if you're trying to beam someone at 200 studs, but even then, the recoil is so much nicer on it compared to the M4A1, and then once you actually get attachments on it, it's hyper accurate where you can beam someone across the map, even though it has 19 minimum damage. So it's safe to say that the AKU-12 has been one of my favorite guns to use so far in this series, and at rank 35 was a breeze. And at rank 36 we unlocked two new weapons, the COLT Mars and the Super Shorty. The COLT Mars is unlocked as a PDW for some reason, which I personally don't get, because it shoots AR bullets, right? I'm not sure. Alright, don't quote me on that. Alright, if some gun enthusiasts want to correct me there, please do, because I genuinely don't know how these categories work, because there seems to be a few outliers in my eyes. I just don't know. But overall, the COLT Mars was extremely nice. And the COLT Mars is another one of those weapons where it's extremely similar to another gun. And that gun in question is the Honey Badger. Because the COLT Mars has 1.5 studs penetration, which is higher than a Honey Badger, has higher RPM, has worse damage, and has around the same reload. So the COLT Mars can genuinely be seen as a lower rank unsuppressed Honey Badger, and it works really, really, really well at doing that. Even without attachments, the recoil is sorta bad, and you can work around it if you don't take those engagements at 200 studs, because what's the point? The gun is more suited for close to mid-range fights in my opinion, but eventually I unlocked the AR rest suppressor and the angle grip on it, and it worked so well. The COLT Mars isn't something you should be messing with, because it really just does work like a Honey Badger, and personally though, the COLT Mars is extremely good, I'd pick the Honey Badger over it, but the COLT Mars was extremely nice. I also want to talk about the Super Shorty or the Serbo shotgun, and the reason why is because unlike other secondaries where I pretty much just shrug them off because they're not that interesting, like the different Glocks that get unlocked, the Super Shorty is one of the best secondaries in the game, if not the best secondary. For some reason this can one-tap consistently up to like 50-60 studs, and it is extremely fast. So once you unlock the Super Shorty, you have the best secondary so far at rank 36, or maybe even the best if you can use it that way, because it is a shotgun in the end. You are gonna one-tap people, and if you use it correctly, it could very well just be a primary. But overall, at rank 36, unlocking a literal Honey Badger and one of the best secondaries in the game, rank 36 was fun and way too easy. And at rank 37, we unlocked two primaries, the Type 20 and the RPK-12. And like the last episode where I unlocked two primaries, I will use one primary for half the rank and the other for the other half the rank. Due to the fact that I had to use the Type 20 for half the rank and the RPK-12 for half the rank, I couldn't really unlock any attachments on it. So I couldn't really experience the Type 20 to its full potential, but nonetheless, it worked really well. The Type 20 has always been sort of pushed to me as a better AK-47 with its torso multiplier and 34 max damage and 24 minimum damage. It can 4-hit kill all ranges to the torso and 3-hit kill torso in CQC up to like 70 studs I think, which is absolutely gnarly. But I also see people compare the Type 20 to the Scar L a lot, and I see where you're coming from, but I feel like it's more fair to compare it to something like the AK-74. But an interesting thing with this weapon is that you unlock an integral suppressor at rank 0, which I for some reason use for the most part. I don't know why, and I personally wouldn't use this integral suppressor over the normal Type 20, but I guess I don't know, I was bored. But you really lose a lot of long range performance when using the integral suppressor, so I personally wouldn't recommend it over the normal Type 20, but hey, I guess it works somewhat, you know. And the RPK-12 also worked really, really well, because let's face it, it is just a big assault rifle. It has 45 bullets with 180 80 reserve, can pick up ammo from ARs, has pretty fast reload for a 45 bullet magazine, has pretty good damage ranges and damage and low recoil with 700 RPM. It is literally just a big AK-12, and you should pretty much just use it as that, because a lot of these LMGs are genuinely like big assault rifles. Sure, they aren't as good as they were before, but they still do work as big assault rifles, so you really can't go wrong with the RPK-12. But the Type 20 and RPK-12, even though I couldn't really unlock any attachments for them, worked extremely well. And at rank 38, we have the DRAGUNOV SVU, and oh my god, this gun is absolutely insane. It might be one of the best guns in the game. I did so extremely well with this gun that it was just unfair. It might be far-fetched to call it the best sniper in the game, but honestly, it might not be that far-fetched, because it doesn't really work as your traditional sniper where you can one-tap head all ranges and it shoots kind of slow. Sure, this doesn't shoot at the fastest fire rate you could imagine, but it shoots way faster than every other sniper. And combined with its 2-hit kill limb all ranges and 1-hit kill headshot up to around 160 studs and near non-existent recoil, you can absolutely decimate people at pretty much any range except close quarters, obviously. Unless you're really good, you can decimate people in close quarters. But that requires a lot of skill and a lot of headshots, so I'd be careful using this weapon in close quarters. But this gun works extremely well as a backmapping weapon, or even just playing aggro and trying to get those headshots at mid to long range. It just works overall, and I had an amazing time with the DRAGUNOV SVU. Next up at rank 39, we have the AUG-2, which might be one of the most boring weapons I've used so far. I've never really liked the AUG-2. It has always been sort of like, why use this over the AUG-3 or the AUG-1? Because the AUG-1 has the long range potential, and the AUG-3 has the close range and mid range potential. And the AUG-2 is just sitting there like, what's the point of me? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to do anything here? You know? And now with the AUG-3 Para having a 70 stud free hit kill, the AUG-2 is just like, I've never really liked this weapon. Like, sure, it works. Let's be real, it works. With its 3-hit kill and CQC and 5-hit killer range, it's just okay, in my opinion. It doesn't shoot very fast, it has pretty good recoil, and its reload is kinda slow, but overall, it just works. If it wasn't for the 3-hit kill, this would be absolutely trash. Might be one of the worst assault rifles in the game. And also due to the fact that I don't have enough kills to unlock something like the 7.62, the AUG-2, even with a setup, just isn't that extravagant. Like, sure, eventually I unlocked ARS suppressor and angle grip, and that worked, but I just didn't like it that much. Next up at rank 40, we unlocked the MP5 and the G40, and I gotta reveal, the G40 is a pistol I'm gonna shrug off. I don't really care about it. But the MP5 is a pea shooter. If used in close quarters, it works really well, but oh my god, the ranges are so bad on this thing, and it does like no damage. Like, sure, it is hyper accurate, and if you hit those shots, you're gonna kill them pretty much instantly, but wow, it does such little damage, and you notice it so quickly. I don't know what it is. I don't know what happened to the MP5, but I just don't like it that much anymore. And sure, I put an angle grip on it to make it more accurate than it already was. Like, you don't need attachments on MP5 for it to be accurate. Like, even without attachments, you can cross-map someone's. The angle grip is just there for show. And I actually did not put an ARS suppressor on it because I needed that little range that it has. But oh my god, I can't stress it enough. It really is a pea shooter, but it's still really good. I know, it's weird, but it still works, alright? At rank 41, we unlocked the AWS, and I did not have high expectations for this gun, but it worked so well. It worked so incredibly well. I've always thought of the AWS as a worse op because it has worse muzzle velocity, which it does, you know? But let's be real here. 2.5k isn't bad. 2.5k is extremely easy to snipe with, and it being integrally suppressed means that they pretty much just can't hear or know where they're getting shot from. So basically shooting someone at the range with the AWS is basically just spooking an enemy because they just literally don't know where they're getting shot at. And this is another one of those weapons where you just don't really need attachments. I literally just like use the Mars sight or like the Z point for the most part, because the iron sights on the AWS are absolutely tragic. They are so bad. Sure, they work if you actually know where you're aiming, but they are fat and ugly and gross, and I can't stress it enough. I really don't like the AWS iron sights. But overall, I really like the AWS as a scout user myself. So hitting those headshots with the suppressed weapons and hearing that crispy headshot noise was just perfect. So the AWS gets a thumbs up from me, and even though using a sniper for 42,000 XP, this was super easy. And at rank 42, we unlocked the K2, the GROZA 1, and the PP2000. 3 entire weapons in one rank. And we're gonna start with the K2. And once again, due to it being a double unlock, I couldn't really unlock any attachments for these weapons. And honestly, the K2 was not that fun. It was not that good in my opinion. Like sure, the free hit kill in CQC to the torso worked pretty well with its 770 RPM, but overall the K2 just didn't work that well. Maybe it's because I couldn't get a setup on it, but it felt like a pea shooter at range, and its recoil is really not that good without a setup. So using a suppressor and a Z point only works if you're playing something like Bazaar or Metro or I don't know, even Derrick works pretty well with the K2, but overall, I don't know, I can't really say anything that positive about the weapon. I guess the free hit kill torso in CQC makes it kind of nice. I guess that's really about it. But the GROZA 1 on the other hand worked extremely well. This thing is so punchy and does so much damage, and it's actually so fun to use. I actually love this weapon. Even though I couldn't put any attachments on it, I just put a suppressor, and hearing that suppressed GROZA noise just like it flipped a switch in my brain. It was like ASMR using this weapon. And the fact that it does 37 to 24 damage with 750 RPM makes it extremely potent at close to mid-range. And sure, its reload isn't that fast, but overall, I really like the GROZA 1. I really like what they did to the weapon, because before the GROZA 1 was literally just a G36. It was super weird, but now they actually catered to the big bullet that it fired and made it more punchy and powerful overall, and I really like that. And for the third weapon in this rank, the PP2000, which I'm not gonna shrug off. I've always liked the PP2000 because of the fact it works pretty much perfectly as a panic secondary, because you can free hit kill up to like 55 or 60 studs. Like sure, it doesn't shoot that fast, but its hipfire is extremely accurate, so you can just take it out and just start shooting everywhere and then just kill everyone, because it free hit kills up to 60 studs. So there's nothing really bad with the PP2000. Next up at rank 43, we have the L86 LSW, and this gun is still extremely good. It is heavy, it is powerful, it is accurate, it is the definition of an LMG assault rifle. It is so good. Sure, the L86 has fallen from its former glory, where you could free hit kill torso up to 130 studs and forward kill limb all ranges, and it also had that sniper suppression cracking noise, which was super annoying. It is still hyper accurate, still does extremely good damage, and it still has an insane amount of reserve ammo and can pick up ammo from ARs, but you have to play around that reload and the sort of heaviness that it has for it to do really well, because in the end, it is an LMG. But eventually I got the AR rest suppressor and the angle grip for it, and oh my god, it is way too accurate. You can basically cross-map anyone with 100% accuracy on any map with this thing. It is so accurate and scary to go against, and it was so fun using this weapon because it really threw me back to when I actually mained this weapon. And at rank 44, we unlocked the AK-12BR, and at first I didn't really do that good with this weapon, but eventually I learned that you have to play around the reload a lot. It shoots faster than most BRs and it reloads pretty slow, so you either gotta play around that reload or you gotta play around the bullets you already have in your mag, because once you're out, there's a very big chance you're gonna die. Alright, so my entire strategy when using this weapon was to play very passive and not take fights that I couldn't take for the most part. And eventually I unlocked the compensator and the angle grip. You might find it surprising that I would put compensator on a weapon, but on the AK-12BR it just works better than something than the AR rest suppressor, and it makes the AK-12BR hyper accurate up to like 150 or 200 studs. So make sure you hit those shots, make sure you play around the reload, and make sure you don't run out of ammo, because then the reload is way slower. But overall, the AK-12BR works extremely well, and I had a good time using it. And at rank 45, we unlocked the FAMAS F1, which is where I'm gonna end episode 3 of going from rank 0 to 100.